you really have to take a step back and look at the 30,000 foot view before you get into the nuts and bolts of, did you click the right button in the ad platform? Did you pick the right ad and all that sort of thing? 30,000 foot view, just like when you're building a house, you have to make sure you have the right foundation in place for any product or service, or you're gonna fail. You're gonna be non-profitable. And even with the best ads and the best, strategy, or maybe the best media buyer, the best agency, ultimately, if you don't have the right product or service, it's going to fail. Now, that brings me to the first point. Part of your foundation is your product. If you're bringing a product or service to the market that there really isn't a need for, or there's an extreme amount of competition and you're not properly presenting your product with the right message, honing in on a really good value proposition to show the market why your product is better than the competition, you're gonna fall flat on your face. And it doesn't matter, again, what buttons you push in the ad platforms. If you're just bringing a bad product or a bad service to the market, or a product or service that people don't want, or you present it in a way that doesn't resonate, it's not going to work. So the most essential thing is that you're bringing a quality product and service to the market, and you're presenting it in a way where people understand what your value proposition is. Again, what differentiates your product, your business, your company from the rest of the market. So that's the first most essential step. Second most essential step is your reputation and fulfillment. All right, so if you bring your product or service to market, but you're not taking care of your customers or clients, ultimately your business in that campaign is going to fail. Maybe not in the first portion of launching the campaign. Maybe you'll be successful for a while and you'll make some money, but the market will catch up to the fact that your product and service is not of good quality, and as a result your business is going to end up failing. Because with the way the internet is now, there's no sweeping anything under the rug. If your fulfillment sucks, if you promise certain shipping time and it doesn't happen, if you promise something in your value proposition, don't fulfill on that, you make promises in your ads over and over and over again, but that doesn't, you don't make good on those promises in the ads, well, what happens is the market's not going to trust your business anymore. And so that's going to cause your business to go downhill. So you have to be very careful with that. Don't bite off more than you can chew when it comes to ad campaigns. When you're ready to scale, you have the infrastructure, the people, the fulfillment, the process in place to scale, sure, launch a bunch of ads, get some more business, get some more sales, and start scaling up slowly, and scale to the moon, and more power to you. But just be careful, make sure you don't screw your customers and your clients on the way, because that's really important. All right, so now the next thing is going to be your analytics. Before you launch any sort of ad campaign, you have to have the right analytics. If you don't have Google Analytics installed, and especially things like conversion tracking for Facebook ads or for Google ads or YouTube ads or TikTok, whatever the case is, you're going to fail, because you need to have attribution to know what ads, what campaigns, what keywords, what audiences, what aspects of your ad campaigns are actually working and what are not. Because you have to understand something about the algorithms. The big platforms are encouraging a lot of automation now, a lot of us as advertisers to rely on AI. Well, and while that's very good, the downside to that is you can't be completely hands-off in an ad campaign. You have to be in there really monitoring every click, or somebody on your team or somebody on your agency needs to be monitoring, because the platform ultimately is still going to do what it needs to do to make money. And that's going to trump your business making money. It's just the way it is. So the very best agencies and marketers are able to merge those two things, understand the algorithms, and then construct the campaigns in a way that the platform is going to like it, and your customers are going to buy, and you make money, and the platform makes money. And that's what you really need. So bringing us into, let's assume all your conversion tracking is set up, and this isn't going to be a tutorial on that, we'll go through that some other day, but assuming you have conversion tracking in place, now this brings into the three components that you really need to look at when it comes to having a successful campaign. The first component, of course, is going to be your traffic, right? So this is selecting the platform, whether it's Facebook ads, TikTok, Google search, YouTube ads, whatever the case is, and then looking at the audiences that you're going to target. Who are you going to target? And this is where planning ahead and understanding who is your customer, who are the personas and avatars and types of people that you're going to be targeting from both a demographic standpoint, also from a pain point standpoint of knowing what solution are you providing to the market. So what is, as me as a consumer, if I'm going to see your ad, I'm going to have a certain pain that your ad is going to relieve. It may not be a physical pain, it could just be some type of pain point or something that your product or service solves, and that's where your messaging comes into play. Okay, so in the targeting, you're selecting the platform. Not all platforms are the same, we all know that. It's good to test multiple platforms, but sometimes you got to pick your poison. You got to take an educated guess at what's going to give you the best foot forward from day one. If you're a newer business, especially if you have a limited budget, you have to really ask yourself who is on, for example, TikTok. Everybody knows it's a little bit of a younger demographic. But it's a myth that it's all like 16-year-olds. It's not, okay? There's a lot of older folks actually on TikTok, but it's not as old of a demographic as Facebook, for example, or LinkedIn, or YouTube, or Google search. So there's plenty of research out there that shows what are the actual demographics of these platforms. Okay, so let's assume you pick a platform, you're looking at the different types of audiences that you can target. The platforms are going to encourage you, especially Facebook, if you talk to a rep on these different platforms, they're going to encourage you to go a little bit broader in your targeting, especially Facebook is going to do this. But you have to test. You have to test and verify. You have to look at it from your internal analytics to see what actually works. So sure, you could set up a campaign or an ad set in Facebook ads, for example, that targets a broad scope of people, but you're also going to want to set up ad sets that target lookalikes, that target interest stacks and things like that. So, and similar with Google, there's a lot of different audience types that work really well, and generally I've found that broad targeting just doesn't work in Google, okay? So you have to really look at things like custom audiences, custom affinity audiences, custom intent audiences. Again, this is not gonna be an overview on exactly how to set up that targeting. We'll do that in another video, but that's just a broad stroke. On the traffic, these are things you're all gonna look at. And if your targeting is not good, there's a very good chance that your campaign is gonna fail. So, you wanna target a wide range and a variety of audiences and have a structure in your ad account where you can assess what's working and what's not. So that's why I encourage segmentation in the ad account. Years ago, I would have done this, campaign level segmentation. Now with the way the algorithms are going, it's good to consolidate things a little bit more and maybe have multiple ad sets in one campaign and then look at each individual, the conversions in each individual ad set or ad group in the case of Google, for example. So, and the next thing is going to be creative. Sure, you can't read the chicken scratch, but that's okay. So creative is super important. It's a lot more important than it was before, like years ago. Not that making a good ad wasn't important before, but now it's more important because you're gonna have a little bit less control now than 5-10 years ago in ad platforms on targeting. The creative essentially is gonna be your targeting in some cases, okay? The algorithm is gonna look at the ad, and again, the algorithms favor ads that get engagement and get clicks. This is because the clicks make the platforms more money. So of course the algorithms have been changed and evolved over the years where it's gonna favor the advertisers that make the platform more money. In the case of YouTube, for example, if your ads keep that person on the platform longer, increases their overall session time, then YouTube is really gonna like that ad, okay? So again, this is going back to the idea that you have to balance what is the platform, what is gonna make the platform happy, and what's gonna get you conversions. Because when you're making the platform happy, you're generally gonna pay a lot less per click. So that's why understanding the algorithms is important. So in the creative, you have to test different creative and look at, you have to look at all the KPIs, click-through rates, But most importantly, you have to look at your conversion rates. You have to look at the CPCs that you're getting on these ads. And a lot of people will say, look at the CPM. Okay, fine, look at the CPM, but the CPM equates to a CPC. It's not the same, but the higher your CPM, the higher your cost per click is going to be. The lower your CPM, the lower your cost per click is going to be. So you have to look and see, how is the platform assigning a cost to your ad before the person even gets to your page and converts. If they're assigning a lower cost, it means that the platform generally likes that ad, at least for now. People are engaging, they're clicking on it. Maybe it's doing better than the competition at stopping the skip, doing the pattern interrupt, getting people to stop what they're doing on Facebook as they're scrolling, or stop what they're doing on YouTube, and getting their attention. Your ad is effective at that, and so that means that your cost per click is going to be lower, and that's going to make it a lot easier for you to make money. If your cost per click is lower, guess what? Your conversion rate doesn't have to be quite as high. And if you do get a high conversion rate and a low cost per click, guess what? You're making a ton of money in that scenario. But it's always good to look at both. Conversion rate, how is the ad converting, and what is your cost? Because that's going to equal what your acquisition is. What is it going to cost you to acquire that customer? These are all things you have to pay attention to. But anyway, I hope this video is helpful. Make sure, again, like I said, do your analytics, do your foundational stuff. Make sure you're taking care of your customers, and then do your traffic, your creative, and your landing pages. Those three components, once you have the foundation set, are really important. If you pay attention to all three, you're going to be really successful. So anyway, guys, I will see you on the next video.